Welcome into the Skinny Podcast. It's the weekly potpourri edition. I'm Richard Skinner, Local12.com digital sports columnist and editor. Along with Rick Broering, as always, it's presented by Blake, the attorney Maislin. We got some college basketball to get to, some college football playoffs to get to, maybe an issue taking place in Michigan to get to that doesn't involve, but it does factor a former local coach into the mix as well. We've got some Bengals to talk about, including a broken, and I do mean broken, Joe Burrow. And much, much more. We got a gambling segment. We got a lot to get to, as always, on this podcast. And the Reds, of course, dangling Kyle Schwarber in front of our faces like we really believed it. A lot to get to, Rick.
Yeah, I don't know if we have all of the things that you just mentioned on our rundown here. We'll try to get to all of those things. We'll start with the Bengals game. They lose the Bills 39-34. Still not mathematically eliminated. Think it's pretty comfortable to say they're more than likely done at this point. But, Skinny, that's not even the story this week. The story is Joe Burrow meeting with the media this week and his comments made there where, I mean, I don't know how, if you're a Cincinnati fan, that you don't feel like that was the beginning of an Andrew Luck type ending to Joe Burrow's career.
Yeah, so a bunch of us didn't go to his press conference. We went in the locker room to talk to Shamar Stewart and some other people because usually you don't get a whole lot out of a Joe Burrow press conference. And I'm standing with one of the media relations people, and she looks at me, she goes, uh-oh. I go, what do you mean, uh-oh? She said, I just got a note that said this thing just got weird. I'm like, oh. And so, you wind up hearing what his comments were, that, football's not fun right now. He was asked, dealing with it, stuff on the field and off the field, all of the above. This comes out on the heels of his post-game press conference Sunday, which I thought was very odd. The Joe Burrow that I've come to know and the public has come to know is a competitive, fiery, can't stand to lose, grit my teeth Joe Burrow. He used the term, that's the way the cookie crumbles, twice. Like, I did what I could do. I can't. It's almost like he realizes I've dragged this organization as far as I can drag it. I can't drag it any further. And if they're not willing to drag it with me, then I don't know what else to do. And I think that spilled over into yesterday. Like, he looked and sounded broken and defeated.
Skinny, it was bizarre to watch back. I mean, you've got people saying, are you talking about football stuff? Are you talking about personal stuff? And he's like, there's a lot going on, both personally, football wise. Mentioned that it's still fun to win, but overall it's not the same the way it used to be for him. It was a very strange press conference. It very much sounded like a guy who was contemplating whether or not he even wanted to play football going forward, or if he had made enough money and wanted to focus on other interests.
I mean, I was talking to some people this morning. It almost feels like he's one more catastrophic injury away from saying that's enough. And it does go back to the Andrew Luck factor. Andrew Luck just said, I'm just tired of rehabbing, coming back, getting hurt, surgery, rehabbing, coming back, there was still a lot of football life in Andrew Luck, obviously. He could have played, hell, for all I know, he could still be playing today. But he chose to say, I'm not doing this any longer. And after you hear Joe Burrow yesterday, that feels like it's the position he's in. Like, I think part of it too is he got another firsthand glimpse of, I got us 30 points. Yeah, did I make a bad throw on the pick six and the guy make a great play? Sure. I think he can be allowed to do that every once in a while. He's human. He's going to make a mistake, and the other team's going to make a play. And he still got you 34 points, and you still lost. And I think at some point you're like, what else can I do? I've gotten us in the 30s a bunch. Joe Flacco got us in the 30s and we lost. Joe Flacco got us in the 40s and we lost. Front office, do something to help me here.
Can I just throw one comment into this that I love Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is great.
He's a weirdo.
Amazing to watch. And I completely understand why he would be frustrated with this organization and understand that he might be coming to a weird point in his career, all of that stuff. That seems reasonable to me. I'm not like flipping out because he's come to this conclusion. I do think it's weird timing for him when he essentially lost that game at the end. Like, it wasn't the defense can't let Josh Allen run for 15 yards on a third down, but you threw back-to-back interceptions, my man, also. You were a big part of the reason that you lost that game as well. It's weird for you to start crying like in that post-game press conference and at the next media event.
Yeah, I'm going to disagree with you there. I mean, at 28-18, you can't let them go on a 1-minute touchdown drive. I mean, that got them right back in the game like that.
I don't disagree, but again, this guy who's supposed to be like above it all and the great leader and everything, to then be like, well, I don't know if I like this stuff anymore when you were part of the problem. I mean, you got 34 points, man. That offense scored 34 points. Sure, if you
and
don't throw back-to-back interceptions, you keep that lead.
Yeah, okay. I'm not going to go there. I disagree with that, but that's fine. Listen. I mean, if this was a one-off, I'd agree with you. This is not a one-off. This has been the theme of the last couple of years of you can get in the 30s and you still can't win games, and to get the 30s in the NFL is really, really hard.
No, like I said, I'm on board with everything that's happening here. I get why he's frustrated. I think this is a weird time to do this. Like any of the other games where this has happened, sure. This one where you were culpable too was, I think, kind of weird to kind of be a crybaby about it.
Well, I just think he sees the forest for the trees of I can only do so much, and we can't win because this defense has been crap, and there's nothing that's been done about it. And honestly, if you as a player, if you look around and go, gosh, they keep bringing these cats in and they can't play, somebody's got to pay the price for this, and nobody does. I think that's part of the problem. There's little to no accountability in that organization.
Totally agree.
So then you're at the part of going, I can't. What else can I do? What else can we? And that makes it no fun. Like I can only do so much, and we still lose. And I keep getting hurt and keep coming back from the hurts, and we still lose. And I think at that point you go, this just isn't fun anymore for me. And I never would have thought it would have come this quickly for Joe Burrow, just watching how his career has evolved. But it's come to that point. I think the one thing we can agree on, it's come to that point, whether, how he got there or not, or whether he's culpable for something or not. He's gotten to that point, and my fear would be any other catastrophic injury, he just goes, I'm good.
Oh, Skinny, if that's your fear, I feel pretty good about it. Like if he's going to hang on until he has another catastrophic injury, I feel much more confident than the way I feel right now about where he's at. Because I feel like we could go in this offseason and Joe Burrow just doesn't come back next season. That's the way I took that.
Yeah, I don't think that. I don't. And maybe I'm reading the room wrong in that regard, and maybe you're reading it right. I don't foresee that.
I mean, I'm not predicting it or anything, but it felt like it might be that precarious in terms of where he's at and where this whole thing is at for the Bengals.
The other thing I wonder, and I'm just wondering because it was his birthday yesterday, he turned 29. You're a year away from a landmark birthday. I never thought much about 30, and I'm well past that. I don't really have any landmark birthdays anymore, and I really never thought of anything as a. But it's one of your landmark birthdays, right? And then you start looking and going, gosh, then I'm in my 30s and I'm still going to be dealing with this crap. No, thank you. And I just wonder if that's when it hit him hard. Like I just turned 29 today. Man, 30's coming fast, and I don't have a ton of football left in me. Probably. It might be 5 years, whatever, 7, maybe 1. That it just hit him like a ton of bricks. Like, gosh, I'm at this stage, and we haven't done anything the last 3 seasons.
I think that's highly probable. But here's the thing that always cracks me up when you step back and think about this for a second. I know these guys have the money that they can think this way and they can go do whatever they want. But when I hear these comments, I do think like, what do you think the real world is like for the rest of us, my man? Like we don't all get to go to work and win every day and love our job and it be super fun. Like some of work is just showing up every day and collecting your paycheck and making a ton of money. You guys are getting paid better than anybody to do your job. Like I get that it's frustrating. I get that part of the fun is winning in this, but part of being a grown-up and having a job is it's not always fun. You sometimes just have to show up and clock in and get your paycheck. So while you have enough money, if you're Joe Burrow, to say, I don't want to do that anymore, I also think if you listen to a guy like Andrew Luck talk, he's kind of backtracked on his decision over the years a little bit and thought, you know what? There's part of me that wishes maybe I did play football a little longer. Maybe I wish I was still playing football a little bit. So I feel very much like if Joe Burrow were to walk away from this stuff before he was actually done, he would regret that decision.
Probably. And I think, if this season plays out where they do win games down the stretch and you feel like, okay, let's get the band back together, make some improvements off season, make another run at this next year. I think there's always something refreshing about season's over. Take a deep breath, kind of just let the season wash away. And then you start to look ahead to the next year. But I think right now you're in that grind of, I just came back from this. I busted my ass to come back from this. I came back early from this. And I still can't do enough to win games.
Also, just going back to the Andrew Luck thing, I mean, he went to Stanford, and I believe, wasn't he like pre-med at one point or something? When he like on a track to be a doctor or a scientist or something? I mean, like Joe Burrow went to LSU and Ohio State, and he worries about Pokemon cards in his free time. I don't know that he has the mental capacity to be as fulfilled after football as Andrew Luck was.
Yeah, I mean, but he could always go be a fashion runway model. He's done that.
fashion runway model and pokey card ripper.
Yeah, back to your one point about the everyday Joe. I get that. The only other thing I would say is I know other people have had surgeries because of different medical maladies, or you break. I mean, you're coming back from 3 major surgeries on your body at age 29, man. That's a lot. That's a lot to process, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I get that. Like, I'm not saying any of this has been fun for him or that playing for the Bengals organization is fun compared to the other organizations in the NFL. I get why he's frustrated, and I can understand some of it. I don't really understand making these comments at this time, and I really am worried about where it goes from here as a Bengals fan, because I really feel like this. It feels very much like where you expect things to go when you're a Bengals fan. Like, you have the star quarterback, and it just doesn't work out, and it becomes a Carson Palmer situation, or it becomes what have you. But he's going to leave Cincinnati in some way that isn't feel good and happy.
No, he's gotten the point of the phrase that my radio partner Tom Gamble and I used in the 90s when we were doing Bengals post-game radio. He's become Bengalized. I mean,
Bengalized.
It happens to all of them. It's the most amazing thing ever. You think, it's not going to happen to me. It's not going to happen to me. And it eventually does. That's what makes this Sunday super interesting for all the reasons of A, trying to keep your season alive because you have to win to do that. B, if he plays another great game and they lose 37-34, what's the reaction going to be then? I mean, there's a lot of layers to this come Sunday, really after the game.
Did you have any thoughts on the rest of the team or the game against the Bills or what's ahead this week against the Ravens aside? I mean, to me, the Joe Burrow stuff was really just everything this week. That's the only thing that would be on my mind as a Bengals fan.
Yeah, it was absolutely crazy. The Trey Hendrickson season-ending surgery, okay. Boy, I'll tell you, Zach Taylor gave a weird answer to that Monday. Yesterday, I guess it was, in the press conference. Yeah, well, he's gone. Like, I've already turned the page on him anyway, so that's okay.
And that's exactly how I feel about it too. It's like, when I heard that news, I kind of forgot Trey Hendrickson was still around. And it was also the most predictable way for this season to play out. We said that as soon as they were signing that deal. It's like, he doesn't want to be here. You've got him for 1 year, basically at gunpoint. He's going to get a boo-boo and then say, I'm done for the year.
And can I just say this, is in the Bengals front office, I mean, trust me, I've been on Duke Tobin's ass from Jump Street. But can we, those of you who probably listen to podcasts over the time and are Bengals fans and yelled at me when I said they shouldn't try to sign Trey Hendrickson to the long-term extension and to guaranteed money, now what do you say? They made the right decision.
Right. I mean, it was pretty simple. It was almost worse that they kept him for this year, because this is exactly how it was always going to play out. He was going to AJ Green it.
Yeah, lame duck year. Now again, he's having surgery, so obviously there's something physically wrong there.
Yeah, but I mean, that was always it could have been a turned ankle and he would have been out for the year at some point, I think. I just think that's the way it was always going to go with him. He was going to protect himself first and foremost, and you don't go through an NFL season as a defensive end, especially one like Trey Hendrickson, and not end up with some type of injury.
And that's where I go back to, for whatever reason, you get over 30 in this league, and when things happen, they just don't go well from that point forward. And maybe that's Joe Burrow looking and going, I'm approaching that milestone.
Things already haven't gone well for him from a health standpoint. And